China's latest military drills have rekindled fears of a possible invasion. According to the state-run tabloid Global Times, China has conducted unprecedented military exercises in and around Taiwan. In the past few days, China has surrounded the island with 6 military zones and has flown fighter jets repeatedly across the median line separating the two countries. It has also launched roughly a dozen missiles near Taiwan, including one that flew directly over Taiwan. Taiwan has long been a key ally of the Chinese Communist Party, but a rise in Taiwanese independence has fueled fears that the country is headed for an invasion. Xi Jinping's plan to take control of Taiwan. The Chinese Communist Party (CCP) is considering a plan to seize control of Taiwan and make it a part of the mainland. Taiwan is a modern freewheeling democracy, about the size of Australia, located 160 kilometers from mainland China. The island is home to an indigenous population with a 6,000-year history. It has long been a thorn in the side of China, especially since Mao Zedong won China's civil war and drove out the anti-communists to Taiwan. While China was more autocratic and nationalistic under Mao Zedong, Taiwan was increasingly Taiwanese and democratic, so Beijing changed its tactics. When Xi Jinping became head of the Communist Party in 2012, the government began to use coercion to force companies to stop doing business with Taiwan. It also began to escalate its crackdowns, from the Xinjiang province to Hong Kong. The Chinese leadership's plan to seize Taiwan has several challenges. First, there is the risk of war with the US, which means that Xi has to be cautious. The risk of war is too high for Beijing, which has taken steps to avoid a worsening of US-China ties. Second, he must prevent Taiwanese forces from mobilizing and garnering international support. Third, Xi cannot afford to have any dissent among his top military leaders. In his 2 terms, he has purged thousands of officers on corruption allegations and has tried to tighten the party's control over the military. China's crackdown on civil liberties and democratic institutions in Taiwan. The tense relations between the civil societies of Taiwan and China are a reflection of the political situation in Taiwan at the present. Taiwan's Democrats have been fighting Beijing's influence over Taiwan for years. In 2008, the Sunflower Movement was launched to protest Beijing's economic influence. The protests led to the cancellation of the proposed cross-strait service trade agreement. The following year, the Democratic Progressive Party won the presidential election. This party does not support unification with China and is very critical of the Chinese government. Since the elections in Taiwan, Beijing has escalated its coercive and covert measures to undermine the government. The government has made clear that it does not support the idea of Beijing-style media governance, but the opposition KMT has more friendly relations with the Chinese authorities. Nevertheless, the KMT opposes Beijing's media policies and supports Taiwan's self-governance. China's crackdown on civil liberties has been accompanied by a series of political and economic pressures. The Hong Kong government has also been implementing repressive laws and procedures. For example, the NSL allows the Hong Kong police to request information about the activities of foreign political organizations and Taiwanese organizations. As a result, Taiwanese officials in Hong Kong are being forced to withdraw and face the threat of imprisonment. The battle for Taiwan reignites. The Battle for Taiwan was one of the most significant battles in Chinese history. It was fought in 1932 between 2 republican armies, the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Empire. Today, China has a strong interest in reuniting Taiwan with the mainland. The island's 23 million people are embracing a distinct Taiwanese identity and increasingly view Taiwan as an independent state. In addition, Taiwan's president, who has made clear that the island is a sovereign state, believes the island is increasingly in danger of being invaded. China's willingness to use economic coercion. While China may not be seeking to inflict severe psychological stress on Taiwan, it is willing to use economic coercion to protect its interests. Most of the measures are symbolic and formal, meant to keep China ahead of domestic opinion, while warning of the dangers of being exploited by outside powers. For example, Beijing has a long list of third-party activities and Chinese companies that donate to anti-China political parties, and has begun to push back against governments that are damaging China's image. China's ultimate objective is to reach an agreement with Taiwan on a formal political relationship, but it is not doing so just yet. China's military spending is about 22 times higher than Taiwan's, but it is unlikely that Taiwan has the capabilities to defend itself. Nonetheless, Tsai and her DPP plan to raise defense spending, which is a step in the right direction. The money will go toward naval mines, cruise missiles, and advanced surveillance systems. China's plans for securing Taiwan are becoming more evident and grimmer. Despite the protests in Hong Kong, Chinese leaders are preparing to crush Taiwan's multi-party democracy and re-educate its 23 million people. And senior Asia-Pacific diplomats are clear that they will not be accommodating China in the future. China has spent hundreds of billions of dollars upgrading its military capabilities over the past decade. Taiwan's military is far less advanced than China's, and many analysts think that a full invasion is not realistic.